I can stack them hundreds to the roof. I ain't stopping till they stack to the moon. Without me, my family wouldn't have food. Anybody go against me gotta lose.
What is up, guys? You're listening to the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy. I'm your host, and I am the motherfucking CEO. Guys, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is an entrepreneurial, personal development, how to kick the shit out of every aspect in your life podcast. I don't think I've ever described it like that, but that's what it is. We're going to talk about a lot of concepts. Some of them will be strictly business. Some of them will be strictly personal development. Yes, we are in the business category, but you don't have to be an entrepreneur to get things out of this show, okay? We're going to talk about a lot of principles. We're going to talk about a lot of concepts that will help you in every area of your life, not just your financial area or your career area or your business area, but also your personal area, your fitness area. All of these things can apply, and that's the beauty of what we do here. So, we don't run ads. I'm not going to bore you with 20 minutes of fucking ads. I am going to get right to the point, and we're going to keep it about you guys, about the listeners. The reason we started this podcast was because I deal with about 200 millennial people that work in my company, and I recognized a need for them to learn the basics of what it takes to be successful. I won't say this is just for millennials, but I will say that the MFCEO Project, and the reason we call it a project, was based out of that. We don't believe in the popular concepts of that everybody is special, that everybody deserves to feel good about themselves, that everybody wins. We deal with reality, okay? So we're realists, and we're going to talk about some shit that is probably going to make you uncomfortable sometimes, but if it makes you uncomfortable, you probably fucking need it. My fee for this podcast and my deal with you guys is this. If you get value out of the podcast, if you get lessons that apply to your life, for every episode that you feel like was value, I ask that you bring me one friend. You could do this a number of ways. You can talk about us. You could tell someone about us. You could make a post about us. You could tag somebody. But if you tag somebody in a piece of my content, please let people know why you're tagging them. This is a completely organic movement. We don't run ads for it. And we do this because we want to make a difference. So guys, if you could do me that favor and pay the fee, it's on the honor system. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I appreciate all the support that you give us. If you want to stay more connected, you can subscribe to my email list, which is andyfrisella.com/subscribe. And you're going to get access to the Frisella files, which is a weekly free piece of content, video content that we do that's sort of like a mini podcast. It's the best way to describe it, but it's practical lessons on how to make some fucking money, so which we all like. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Vaughn, the Impaler, Vanilla Ice, the Pastor of Disaster,
Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Bon Jovi,
DJ God.
right?
He's known by all kinds of names because he's legendary.
Right.
What's going on, my legendary friend?
You know, whenever you post pictures of your transformation, I actually feel like the before pictures that you post, that you must have photoshopped them to make yourself look really bad, because I don't remember you looking that bad. But then because
I was big sexy, dude.
Well, that's true, but it's also because I was with you every day. You know how like when you're with somebody every day, you don't really see, but it's crazy. Like there has been quite a transformation.
Why are you trying to call me fat, dude?
No, man. I'm just telling you
Tyler,
that when
I think he's calling me fat.
Like a year from now, when I have 100...
I think you are still fat. You're still that fat guy to me.
Hey, bro, and you're always going to be that little gay boy. By the way, Tyler, where are your shorts today?
Yeah, he's got the ripped up
This is the second
jeans.
fucking podcast. No, the third podcast in a row where there's been no salmon shorts.
What happened last podcast?
We had an awesome
Actually,
podcast.
it was a good one.
There you go.
Yeah.
We
breaking a trend?
Yeah. The
so
essence of the salmon shorts is still
coming
here.
into... So I feel like maybe salmon's going out of style. Are you still on the salmon, or are you feeling like something else now?
No, I'm way past the salmon. You were the one that was on the salmon.
What's the new thing now?
Just
Are you
fashion?
going back to neon?
No.
What's the new thing, dude? Holes?
Just fashion.
Like all kinds of holes in your pants?
Oh, man.
I don't really know how to describe it. Streetwear.
Streetwear. All right.
Anyway, all I was going to say is a year from now, when I have 100 more pounds of lean muscle mass,
100?
you're not even going to notice it because you're going to be with me every day, but everybody else will notice it. That's when I'm going to get a sleeve.
You're going to get a sleeve?
Once I get arms, I'll get
Do you have any tattoos?
I don't know.
No. First of all, I can promise you that you would do about 5 minutes of a fucking tattoo and you would quit.
You're probably right, but every time I go to a tattoo artist, they can't do what I want them to do. So it's...
What, they don't want to tattoo your penis?
No.
Because it's so small?
I always tell them I want a full body tattoo of myself.
Those micro tattoos are in right now.
What are?
Those micro tattoos, they're hot right now.
Dude, that one dude who's doing those things, that motherfucker...
John Boy?
Yeah, he's charging like fucking $10,000 for a fucking tattoo. It takes 5 seconds.
He's pretty talented. Vaughn's going to get a little dick on the inside of his finger.
No, Vaughn's going to get a little dick on his little dick.
No, I'm going to get a full body tattoo of myself, only taller.
Damn, dude, you've been thinking about that for a long time.
It's like, he's like, did you not hear me when I set that up the first
Jordan
time?
picked up on
I'm
it.
going to repeat the joke again.
Well, I guess I just announced our guest
Oh,
today.
yeah, I'm here too.
Let everybody know who we have here today because I'm excited about this podcast.
All right, guys, we have, and I have to admit, I don't know if it's Harbinger or Harbinger.
I knew that was coming. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he must have either not researched it or is going to in real time go, oh, wait a minute.
Wait. I can promise you he didn't research it.
I did research
Let's
it.
just fucking real.
I did research it, but I have, my brain, I'm a three-dimensional thinker. I've always got massive, deep, weighty concepts going on in my brain.
Right.
So I just had a brain malfunction.
So ain't nobody got time to figure out if it's a hard G or a soft G.
You got it right, man.
Yeah. The
So-
answer is both are totally fine, and even I switch it up sometimes if I'm trying to get somebody to spell it right. Yeah. I'll say Harbinger, and if I say it normally, I say Harbinger.
But if we pronounce it Harbinger, it's almost like you're a harbinger of doom.
That's right. So for purposes of this show,
That sounds badass.
we're going with that one.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
But let's be real,
Most of
dude.
you
Let's
guys-
be real. Let's be real. You didn't do your research.
hey, what do you call
I know
this?
you did a
What do
little
call
bit of
this?
research because you sent me some fucking thing in text message today that made no sense. But I didn't. What sure as fuck wasn't good research.
Well, I actually thought that you would need no introduction, but
So far, so good.
so far so good. So
this intro is as good as not
so
having
my
one
actually
at all.
my
That's right.
my favorite like accolade of yours is the Larry King of podcasters.
You know what that used to say?
What's that?
The Charlie Rose of podcasting, and I had them change it. I was like, oh, crap, we got to find another
gotta move away from that
thing.
guy.
So my friend goes, oh, look, I'm doing a Forbes article, and I'll go and throw that in there. Because it was like,
Yeah.
It's kind of like, he's the Harvey Weinstein of supplements. Wait a minute. Maybe not.
All the millennials over there going, "Who's Larry King?"
Yeah.
But
It's all
anyway,
right.
no. Jordan is actually, in all seriousness, if you listen to, he's one of the. I would call you the OG, because you're one of the first pioneers of
For
the,
sure.
of the
Yeah,
pod,
for sure.
the podcasting world. But Jordan is, man, you're an autodidact. I mean, you know a lot about a lot of stuff. But the way I would describe you, your expertise really does seem to be social influence, communication dynamics, and you know what? I just want you to tell your story about yourself. Tell us a little about yourself. Give us the 5-minute spiel about
Sure.
who you are and what you're all about.
So, like many of us, I went to college and I was like, oh, crap, I can't get a job. This is back in 2003. And then I thought, well, the answer is clearly more education, right? I got to go to school more.
That's what they tell us.
That's what they tell
Yeah.
you. And at the time, it sort of made sense. So I went to law school, and then I worked my way through Wall Street. And the thing is, when I was younger, I was decent in school. I was all right. And then I got to college, and I was like, oh, crap, everyone's smarter than me. So I had to outwork everyone, which actually was a better lesson than just like, oh, I'm naturally smart. That's not a good – you don't want kids to actually learn that if it's true. And then I got to Wall Street, and everyone was really smart, and everyone was really hardworking. And I thought, I'm going to get fired from this job as an attorney because they're going to figure out I don't belong here. Classic imposter syndrome. And what I ended up doing –
which we all still have.
yeah, we also have at least to some degree for sure. And I wanted to learn how to network and sell and close business because I thought that's the way that I'm going to get to the top of the law game is bringing in relationships, reaching out to people, making friends with people, getting new clients for the firm. And then I started working on that. And the problem back then especially was you could not learn this skill set from anyone. You either were kind of naturally good at it, which I was not, or kind of like when you were knocking on doors in the original company, like, hey,
You learn it.
yeah, you got to learn
just
it.
go get punched in the face over and over again, and,
Yeah.
and it comes. Dude, I hate people that have the natural ability.
It's annoying.
Like people
Yeah.
I get credit and it drives me insane. I used to have this guitar teacher and I would say to him, I'd say, fuck, dude, you're so talented. He would get so pissed off because he's been playing for 30 years. You know what I mean? Every day for 30 years. And he would get pissed off when I say, dude, you're talented. And I never understood why he would get so mad. But then I started thinking about how I feel when people say, oh, dude, you're so good with people. That's such a great talent you have. It's like, motherfucker, do you know how many times I had to get punched in the face to develop my people skills? Like a decade of getting my balls kicked in every day. You know what I mean?
Like a salesman who's really good at closing business is
I was
not
the worst,
Yeah.
dude. It's just, I just didn't have an option. I had to go out and fucking get my face smashed.
It's a lot of knocking on doors.
Were you like that, or?
Yeah, I had to learn this stuff the hard way because I was quiet. I was always like, bookish would be a kind way to put this thing, and that was great for showing up for a geometry test. It was not good for closing business in New York.
Yeah.
And I tried to take classes. So I would take like a Dale Carnegie class. But what I learned really fast was some guy in a sweater vest at the YMCA is not going to teach you how to be like a smooth operating business closer rainmaker because they work at the YMCA teaching Dale Carnegie classes, which is, look, those classes aren't useless. They're great if you're afraid to stand in a room with 6 guys and go, so the sales data for this quarter,
Bro,
that's great.
You know,
That's
how I started, dude. Like I started my speaking career. People are like, how the fuck do you ever get nervous when you go up and speak in front of 10,000 people? I'm like, no, absolutely not. And you know, but the reason is dude, when I started in front of 6 guys in the back of one of our retail stores, scared shitless,
shaking with the papers in your hand,
dude, trying to look exactly like that, exactly like that. And that's how it starts, man.
Yeah.
So like going to the YMCA to speak in front of 6 people, there's a tremendous amount of value because I feel like most people can't get past that point.
No, and most people won't. So they'll feel that and go, okay, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
But the truth is, when you have to get more nuanced with it, that's when the rubber meets the road for a lot of us. And you can't really learn that as well in a classroom setting. So you'll learn how to remember some kids' names of people. They teach you that like you're walking through the memory palace or whatever, you know, those exercises. They teach you like, I don't know, here's what you do with your hands when you talk. But the problem is, if someone's not giving you guys a client contract, if you get fucked over by a supplier or you get a good deal from a supplier, it's not because the person's like, well, he had a firm handshake and he looked me right in the eye. That's not why people like or don't like you. There's more nuanced stuff going on, but you're not going to learn that from a public speaking class with 3 people or 5 people who are afraid to go up.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get past the hand.
It's just there. It's there to set a very basic foundation.
Yes.
And you've got to be able to run out in the real world with basic skills and learn how to sharpen and evolve those skills.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Like if you take a sales class, they're going to be like, oh, research the prospect, which is valid. You should do that. Show up on time. Yes, you should do that. Make sure that you ask about their personal life, whatever, like those basic things. But what they don't tell you is, hey, when you go and knock on the door, back away from the door 3 or 4 feet, especially if you're a guy, and the bigger you are, the further away you should back from the door, and turn sideways because it makes you look less confrontational, and look down at your phone or your paperwork until they answer the door. But they don't teach you that stuff. You learn that because you're like, you have a couple of people answer the door and you're standing there and they back up and go, whoa, oh, I'm sorry. Hi, can I help you?
Yeah.
And you go, I got to fix that problem.
That's why retail is so valuable, dude.
Yeah.
Retail's a great place to hone your personal skills because I was fortunate to come up in that area of business because you get literally dozens of chances a day to like connect with people. You know what I mean?
And you know when it goes right because they buy something and if
they're
it goes,
excited. When they leave, they're posted on the internet like, oh, dude, I just had the great experience at this store. You know, people ask me, like kids are like, what should I do to learn these skills? I'm like, go get a fucking job in retail.
Yeah.
You know,
getting rejected and having people say like, you don't know what you're doing, or having your boss lay into you. And the numbers never lie with sales too. You can't be like, I'm really good at this. Well, I haven't closed anybody, but I'm pretty good at this. You are not good at this. And that's okay. And you will get plenty of chances to blow it and get better and better and better. Yes. Anything that you can do to sell something, especially if you're selling somebody else's thing, because then you're not going to be like homeless if you can't do it right away.
Yeah.
Then they'll teach you things that they've learned. That's such a good job to have. I worked at a movie theater selling popcorn and gummy bears, but they come to you. Yeah. Less effective
Plus
than working
they
at
want
Foot
that
Locker.
shit.
Right.
Yeah, and
it's
they want
different.
it.
It's different selling something that they want versus selling something that they need. So like, for example, in my business, we've sold things that people need versus shit that they want. Yeah. Nobody wants to fucking take protein powder. Nobody wants to take supplements. They just know they probably should. It's a good idea. So when they come in, our job is to educate them on what they need to use and how they need to use it. And it's to get somebody excited in a situation for something that they're kind of telling themselves they need to buy versus something that they want, like a fucking beer or a pizza. You're a completely different ball game.
Plus, your results are offset. Well, their results are offset by
time.
Yeah. A lot of time. Months, years, whatever.
Right.
Like
when they owe you a fucking pizza, they're like, fuck, that was good.
It tasted good. Dopamine hit, done.
People always ask me what my regret is, and I don't really have any regrets. But if I knew what I know today, I probably would have picked a business that would have been something that people wanted versus something that I had to educate them on. And I love what we do because the time payoff that we get of actually changing people's lives, dude, it's irreplaceable, and I would do it for free. Okay, so I'm not saying I would change it, but if I were a young entrepreneur, you know, like I'm giving advice now, like if I were you and you're fucking young, I would think about selling something people want versus something that.
What do you think you would have sold? Do you ever think about what it might be?
Dude, fuck yeah, man. I know exactly what I would have sold. I would have sold fucking frozen custard.
Frozen custard?
Everybody fucking loves it. I would have been a billionaire by now.
The frozen custard billionaire.
Yeah, bro. There's this fucking...
Might be fatter, though, than you are now.
I was fat and I sell fucking vitamins. Like, if I sold fucking frozen custard, I would have been 700 fucking pounds. I would have been on the show where they have to cut the hole in the fucking side of the house and use a forklift to get me out of the bed.
Big Andy the custard guy.
Yeah, that's right. Well, dude, it's funny because, and the reason I always say this and people laugh, but and I'm going to give a plug here, which I never do, but there is this fucking place in Springfield, Missouri, and now it's a lot of places. It's called Andy's Frozen Custard, all right? That's the name of it, all right? And whenever I learned about this business, they only had 1 or 2 stores. Now they have like dozens and dozens and dozens of stores. And it's this really cool concept. It's like they have like this standalone, like retro-looking, like drive-in movie 50s feel building. It's really like good atmosphere, good ambiance, and dude, their fucking product is so good. And dude, I'm just telling you, like everybody in St. Louis loves Ted Drew's, and it's like a legendary place. I love Ted Drew's as well, but Andy's Frozen Custard has the whole fucking thing locked down from a model. And I always knew, I'm like, dude, if I ran their business, I would be a fucking billionaire because people come from all over 12 months a year to buy this shit. And I'm out there like having to like go into people's offices and talk to them about shit like going on a diet. You know, like nobody wants to fucking go on a diet.
Nobody wants to hear that. Meanwhile, people waiting in the rain to eat frozen custard.
So you obviously started working on this stuff to succeed as a Wall Street lawyer, but you're not a Wall Street lawyer.
Alert,
so what happened?
That didn't happen. Yeah, so what happened was I was securitizing subprime mortgages, which is a fancy way of saying take mortgage pools, turn them into a product for a bank where they can sell securities against it. So like you can buy stock in these pools of loans. Well,
The Big Short.
I think we kind of know how that went because I remember asking what happens if people default on their mortgage and they go, it's fine. There's so many in here. You'd have to have this critical mass of people defaulting at the same time. Well,
wouldn't you know it?
I mean, guess what? That's totally possible. And in fact was likely and happened. And so the whole firm that I was working at cut back dramatically. And they're like, look, we're probably going to end up cutting a lot of you guys. And it's your first year. So we don't want to fire or lay you off. So what we're going to do is pay you for the entire year every month, just like you work here, but you don't have to show up anymore. But you should get another job. And if you get another job, let us know and we'll stop paying you. Right. Because no problem. I'm certainly going to do that. But then I just took all of that salary every month and I used it as seed capital for my business. And that's what started the whole company in the first place. So I didn't end up continuing with law, but I continued with those skills because every time I learned a little bit about sales, marketing, and relationship development, networking, I was like, this is a huge competitive advantage that nobody thinks about because people are thinking about how to outwork everyone, which you should be able to do already. Work ethic is something that you should have. You have to be able to like die on the treadmill. But making yourself smarter is a process that you should also do, but is so much slower. And then there's this third path, like the secret third path is what I call it, which is the relationships and the networking stuff. If you're building that, your colleagues they're not thinking about this right now, especially if you're in your 20s, because what you think about when you're in your 20s is, I'm going to work and I'm going to build something, and then sooner or later I'll know everyone because I'll join a country club or something when I'm a millionaire, and I'll just make friends.
Right.
The friends come first. They don't come as a result. They come as a part of what you're building.
Yep. Dude, totally. And that's just, it's funny because one of our last podcasts, we just talked about this. The process of continuing to level up your groups of friends. You know what I mean? So many people try to fight that process when it's counterproductive to what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Well, or they're doing this thing where they're like, well, the first one is, I don't want to ditch my old friends. And it's like, okay, I get that. You don't have to not talk to your high school buddies. But if you have a bunch of friends that you're going, hey, let's go get a workout in and then go see a show, and they're like, no, let's smoke pot and play video games. That's cool if you do that once or twice, but if that's all they ever want to do, you gotta figure out if that's what you want.
Yep. Because that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's what you're going to get. You're going to end up like that. And I interviewed this guy on the Jordan Harbinger show named Benjamin Hardy, and he wrote a book about how your environment influences what you do. And one of the examples he gave is he had a buddy who was happily married, he had kids, and he stayed friends with this guy from high school, which is, again, not the end of the world, not a big deal. But then he started spending more time with that guy and more time. And then that guy went through a hard time and got divorced. And he's like, well, I'm his only buddy. So he spent more and more time with him. And that guy was talking negatively about his ex-wife. And he encouraged this guy to talk negatively about his current wife. And then his current wife started getting sick of his crap and his eating Cheetos and playing video games with this guy all the time. Well, you can guess what happened. Fast forward, it was a couple years later, this guy ends up getting divorced. His wife takes his kid, and now he hangs out with this guy 24/7. I think they live together and play video games every fucking day.
Yeah.
And that's because this guy's mindset and his environment were set up to just sap away his energy, sap away his good choices, sap away. He didn't make new friends. He didn't level up his friends. And networking and relationship development is a great way to make sure that you're around successful people all the time, not just the people that you were friends with in college because they live next to you.
I think it's important too to say, the other thing is that networking is fucking huge, right? And you have to be conscious and intentional about who you're going to try to meet. But what I see on social media, and I don't know if you observe the same thing, but fuck, I do, is like all these kids who think that just by networking that they're going to somehow become these wealthy they're disproportionately going in on networking as opposed to like building a quality product or having a business plan or all the other shit that you actually got to have too. Because like like Gary Vee pushes this hard, and Gary's my boy, but I don't agree with everything he said. And one of the things that he go in somebody's DMs and DM them and DM them and DM them and DM them until they fucking respond. Dude, that's how you get blocked on my fucking page. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I had this question. I went to Kansas City for an event last weekend or 2 weekends ago. And I had a kid come up to me who was just like, I don't know, he's like 3 or 4 years into his business. And he was like, he asked me for my personal cell phone number. And like, dude, I admire your ambition. Like, I get that. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm not giving you my fucking number. Like, I don't know you.
Yeah, I'll give him your number. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. But like, I get it. Like, he was displaying that he had like courage to ask, right? And I appreciate that. But, and he's like, well, how, because after I told him no, politely, he said, well, how do I get to be friends with people like you? Like, how do we get in the same circle? And I'm like, bro, you got to go out and do something.
Yes.
You got to go out and fucking build something. Like, you've got to go out and build something that's so fucking noticeably successful that you cannot be ignored, to where people like me or you or whoever else who have already done things look and say, dude, yes, we got to get, this dude's doing it. We got to get in with him.
It makes sense too, yeah, because
but people miss that point because they're young and they're ambitious and they want it now, and they don't realize, like, dude, you can't just talk your way into people's circles.
I see you're an entrepreneur. Let's connect.
Yeah, but like, if I had Elon Musk's phone number right now, for example, I wouldn't be like, hey, look, I have all these great ideas for SpaceX. You got to hear, or
fuck no.
Hey, can I don't have.
I'd be sending him fucking funny memes,
right? Yeah.
Until we're fucking boys.
Exactly. I would find some way to make it entertaining, but that's a whole side topic probably.
But that's what we're talking about, interpersonal relations.
Right.
Like, you work your way in, like, over years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you have to bring value to them because you know if this kid, and I don't want to pick on somebody I don't even know, but he probably wasn't like, hey, I have to get in touch with you directly because I have all these things that are going to benefit you. He was like, I'm going to text you every week to run ideas by you for my own
that's a whole nother thing. Like people, and this kid was very nice. He's going to listen and he's going to know when I'm talking about him. He did everything right. But like if you don't have the thing, whatever your business is, to back up you're just not. It takes that part too, not just the networking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And, I do.
I have. Another thing is you get people in DMs all the time they'll say this. Hey, can I pick your brain?
Oh yeah, that's not. Don't ever do that.
Motherfucker, you can't pick my brain. I've got lots of shit going on in my real life. Like, no, you can't pick my brain.
Or we've got 236 podcasts that you can listen to.
Dude, it just shows me you're fucking lazy. Like, I cannot stand, like, it's a pet peeve of mine. Like, if those words go together into a fucking DM, I literally get, like, irritated. I want to, like, tell them off. But I don't, but I just ignore it.
It's tough. I will say, if somebody's friends with me, like if you called and you were like, hey, look, I want to pick your brain about podcasting and stuff,
that's different.
Totally different.
That's different.
Yeah. But if I don't know you, you're picking my pocket instead of my brain. Yeah. Because I got to make money on this time.
No shit, dude. Like,
that's a great way of putting it.
Let's clarify that. It's totally different if you've got a relationship and I call you and say, hey, bro, I got a question about this. What do you think?
Yeah.
As opposed to some dude I've never met before. And dude, what they always do too, like they always try to leverage. They're like, oh, dude, I've bought all your products. I've done this. I've done that. Yeah. Can I pick your brain? And I'm like, no, you still can't.
Still can't.
Yeah. Like I just don't have the time to do that. And I'm doing what I do so you can learn this shit. All you have to do is go listen.
Yeah, it's not scalable for you to do that.
Yeah, no, man.
One thing that I started doing that has helped with this is, do you know what Clarity is? It's like this service where you can charge up, I think, $600 or $1,000 an hour, and then they can set up a call with you. And it's like, at that rate, it's about $17 a minute. And I will donate that money to charity, or it depends on what the cause is, of course. But then if people are willing to pay for that, then I know that they're going to probably apply what they're telling me because it's going to cost them $400
they got
to talk
skin
to
in the
me
game.
for 15.
Yeah. That's right. And that matters, dude.
Yeah.
That's something I've had to learn over the last few years is like, because we're getting ready to launch a bunch of academy courses.
Nice.
And I'm excited about that because I'm excited to have people who have something in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, dude, because that's what I like, man. I like people taking the information and then coming back a year later and being like, fuck, dude, I doubled my income or I grew my business this much or I did this. But it doesn't happen really because a lot of people don't have skin in the game.
They don't have skin in the game. The guy who wanted to pick your brain, not the one, again, don't want to pick on somebody I don't know, but a lot of times you'll give somebody, I remember when I first started, I would spend like an hour with somebody outlining a strategy or something like this, and they would never, a year later, I'd be like, oh, did you ever launch that? They never would launch anything. They would never do anything. And that's why if somebody's like, hey, I want you to be the first guest on my new show, I'm like, nah, I'll do it when you're on episode 50. I never hear from those people again because they don't get there. They never get there.
Right. Yeah, dude.
Point. So backing up just for a little bit. So clearly you built this awesome brand on social dynamics, interpersonal communication, a lot of the things that are connected to that. Let's formalize this, all right? Because, and let's state this in really stark terms. Give us your step-by-step, path or formula for how to get somebody to do something. What basic principles of persuasion. I mean, we're already talking about it organically, but let's formalize it.
Yeah, persuasion is commonly misunderstood because people are like, all right, what's this like hypnotic set of words that you can use to get somebody?
They have a negative connotation of it.
Yeah, it's either manipulative.
Right.
Yeah, or they're thinking like, oh, I got to use power words or like some kind of, there's some terms I'm drawing a blank because I don't worry about
linguistic programming.
I don't really focus on this kind of thing. Honestly, the way that I get people to do things that I think are going to be beneficial to them, which is the easiest way to persuade somebody to do something, is to first of all align their goals with yours. I know that sounds very cliche or trite, but what this means really is, look, I don't tell someone, you don't tell someone, hey, you should buy this product. It's the best one out there. And, you know, if you do this, all this great stuff's going to happen for me. You would never sell anything like that. You'd say, look, you're going to go out there and spend $50 on supplements. If you spend $60, you're going to get stuff that we've tested. It's going to work. It's going to give you better results. You know, you have to speak in terms of what's going to be good for them, but you also have to show them, you have to handle their objections in a way that's not like you're selling it. So a lot of the ways that I would sell an online course or an in-person training, and when we teach, when I teach people, usually I teach military, a lot of special forces, of course, a ton of civilians and things like that come to our training as well. And they're always, these are guys that know that hard work is part of it. So you have to speak in the language that they have, which is not, this is going to be so easy for you guys. Half the time I will tell a client or student, this is going to be one of the hardest skills you've ever tried to learn. And then the wrong audience will go,
wait.
All right, I'm done.
Let me stop you there.
Sure.
Why do you say that? Because I know why, but why do you say that?
Yeah, so the reason that this is important is if I tell a kid outside this is going to be one of the hardest skills you ever had to learn, he's probably going to be like, I don't want to fucking do that. But if I tell you this is going to be one of the hardest skills you're ever going to learn, you're going to be like, well, good. I need a fucking challenge. I know I can do this. I've mastered all kinds of other stuff.
Not only that, now I fucking trust you because I can believe that.
Yeah, you can believe that.
I can believe, like when somebody says, this fucking lose weight in 30 days, lose 100 pounds in 30 days, easy.
Cut your leg off.
Nobody fucking believes that shit.
Yeah.
But when you tell the truth, people believe it.
Yeah.
And then you have credibility. So you might not sell as much today, but over the next 10 years, you're going to sell a lot more because the people who are buying are the people who are willing to go do what it is you're telling them to do.
Yes.
And what are they going to do? They're going to say, hey, I went and bought Jordan's program or this or that or Andy's supplements. And you know what? They fucking worked because I did my part. And it's a long-term play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I think telling the truth is, first of all, underrated.
Fucking everything.
And it's hard to do in the moment. People always go, oh, well, you know, of course I'm going to tell the truth. You know, I always tell the truth. This is what I do. When it comes down to the moment where you have to choose between getting easy results or getting money from somebody or telling the truth, that's when it actually matters the most.
Right.
Discipline doesn't really matter when you don't need it. This sounds so dumb when I was saying it out loud, but it's actually a great life truth. Discipline only counts when you need it. Like if you're already awake at 5 a.m. because your dog woke you up, that's not discipline.
Right.
It's discipline when it's cold out, it's snowing, you're so warm, you wake up and you go, I could totally go back to bed for another half hour, or I could get to the gym, or I could get up and make a healthy breakfast, whatever it is. That's when the discipline counts. The same thing with truth. The truth only matters if it's like, shit, I really want to sell Tyler on this, but you know what? This isn't going to be a good fit for what you're looking for, but I'm going to refer you to one of my competitors as much as it kills me right now. Then the person goes, wait a minute. You're not just trying to take my cash right now. You're not just trying to get this closest sale right now. And that's tough because...
But that's what does close the sale.
That's what does close the sale. Yeah, it does. And look, another way that I think is persuasive...
It takes like 5 to 50 times of real life experiencing what you're talking about to understand it. Like, cause like, dude, I try to teach this to like guys that we have in our program.
And they're like, no, man.
They're like, dude, if I do that, nobody will buy.
Nobody will buy.
I'm like, motherfucker, this is how you close a sale.
Yeah.
You tell them to go somewhere else.
This is how you close a sale. I recently, every Friday, I answer listener questions on the Jordan Harbinger show. And one person was like, I got this really successful cleaning business, but I have all these clients and they're used to paying me, I don't know, $150 a day or whatever to clean the offices. And I want to raise my rates to $200, but I don't want to piss off all my old clients. And my advice was not spring a rate change on them. My advice was not tell them what's what. My advice was tell them you're raising your rates in 30 days so they have time to plan. And if it's too much for them to pay, you will refer a competitor who will probably do just as good of a job. And she's like, I'm not referring my competitors. And I said, then don't raise your rates because you're never going to be able to do it. So, of course, what she ended up doing was hopefully taking my advice, I would imagine. And when other people have asked me this problem or had this problem to solve, if you say, look, I'm going to refer somebody else if you can't afford my new rate, most everyone will pay you the new rate because they trust you.
And not only that, dude, let's say they don't. Let's say they don't pay you the new rate. Because really what you have to think about, like we talk about, like you said, telling the truth sometimes is hard.
Yeah.
But it's really not if you think about it the right way. Because what you should be thinking about in today's society is what the conversation's going to be Friday night at the bar when they talk about supplements or working out on Monday, or what the conversation. So let's say they don't buy from you. Good things still going to happen, because what's going to happen when the conversation comes up is, you know what? Jordan raised his rates from $150 to $200, but he offered to help me find someone else to do it for the same price. Like, dude, that's a good fucking dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you end up still winning even if you lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they go, he referred somebody else
who does that?
Who fits my budget.
It creates
no
the
one
story.
does that.
It creates the story. The conversation that you're trying to control, that what the word of mouth, doing things like that are what creates that, because it's so abnormal. It's like what Seth Godin talks about his purple cow, right? Mm-hmm. It's so abnormal that people remember it. So it's automatic, like branding and advertising for you forever.
And it shows confidence in the way that you need to show confidence. It's not bluster. It's, look, my protein powder costs $60. Yes, it's twice as much as another one. It's more than twice as good. Well, I'll give you 55. Sorry, man. No. But here's another brand.
Best, you know what the best thing we ever did? The best mentality I ever adopted for not just business, for my life. And it says this on my Instagram profile. It says, not for everyone. People get themselves.
It does say that.
Yeah, people get themselves in trouble by trying to please everyone. Do not try to please everyone. Just figure out who it is that you're going to appeal to and go all in there.
That is a very good point. What happens is people try to take brands like yours, mine, and they try to make us all vanilla, and then you get punished by the market for being vanilla.
Right.
But the person in the moment it's kind of like they want you to be this way, and then as soon as you change that way, in fact, this happens in relationships too. You've seen this with probably your friends, and they're married and stuff like that. And it's like, why can't you do this? Why can't you be more like that? And then all of a sudden the relationship falls apart, and it's like, what happened? I did everything that she said, or I did everything that he said. And it's like, yeah, but you've changed. It's like, you fucking changed me. What are you talking about?
Bro, I'm going to tell you this. Nobody's passionate about vanilla ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's passionate about vanilla. I like vanilla. Vanilla's good. I fucking eat it.
Yeah.
But I ain't fucking passionate about it.
It ain't no frozen custard.
No, that's right. With M&Ms and fucking Reese's and caramel in it.
That's right.
Because that's the shit I like. And that gets me so passionate that I want to start a company around it. All right? So you have to think about your life and your brand and your company in that way, right? If you're vanilla, dude, you might be able to pay the bills, but you're never going to thrive.
You're a commodity.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You're becoming a commodity by default. And it really comes down, the reason that your brand has become vanilla is either A, you're running it by committee, because when you run shit by committee, the answer is going to always be vanilla because no one's going to agree.
Right.
Or B, you're purposely trying to please everybody's opinion, and it bothers you so deeply that you can't please everybody that you take all the cool shit of your brand and throw it away.
You sand down your shit until it's so smooth that nobody wants it anymore.
Right.
Okay, so Jordan, the first 2 points that I pulled out from Jordan Harbinger's Rockstar Persuasion course in 48 hours or less, sarcasm,
nailed it,
is align their goals to yours. Tell the truth, even if it's not in your immediate best interest.
Yeah, I like that.
But think
Well
about the long game.
Well, long game, that's actually probably two separate points. Long game, I was talking with Gary Vee, speaking to him before, and I can't remember what I said, but he was like, you do think long term. And I hadn't really thought about this, but it's true. I don't go, oh man, I got to get Shaq on my show, so then I blow up and everyone will be like, yeah, that's the guy that had Shaq. I waited 2.5 years to get him on the show. And it was persistence, but it was like, I think you call it aggressive patience. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's aggressive patience where I'm there. Like you turn around and it's like, oh yeah, he's still behind me. But I'm not poking you in the back the whole time.
You're letting the value accumulate.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's important to play that long game. I get why younger guys and gals, but especially guys, they don't want to wait because especially in the internet age, it looks like you should have everything right now.
Well, dude, and also what people don't realize is that if you have Shaq on your show as the first fucking guest,
it's all downhill from there.
It's not going to make your show anyway.
No, it doesn't do anything for you.
Because it takes time. this goes back to the buying process or the process of becoming a loyal fan. It's the same. It takes people time to accept your idea, to accept your message. All right. And if you go in, like, people have this false perception, and it's because what we're fed, right? Kim Kardashian posted for this company, and now they're selling $4 million a month.
Right.
Yeah, but next month they're selling $0.
Or they were selling 3.8 and they paid Kim
Right.
Kardashian and they went up 200 grand.
Yeah,
it didn't
dude.
make it overnight.
But
Yeah.
people have this perception because we're fed the idea of overnight success, that by having this one person or that one person or this opportunity or getting your product in this store, that it's going to make you. Nothing that you can do, nothing, no matter how much money you spend. Look at all the companies you see spend ads on Super Bowl, and then you never hear from them again.
Yeah, never.
It doesn't matter. You cannot outspend. You cannot outwork. You cannot out-strategize time. Time is always a factor. You cannot turn a cake up to 900 degrees and cook it in 5 fucking minutes.
Right.
It's going to take 40
I tried
minutes.
that. It doesn't work.
Right.
You take my word for it.
And it's the same thing that these young dudes, I appreciate the ambition, dude, but you're thinking about it in a way that you don't understand doesn't work.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what
I don't
mean?
know. I don't. Have you guys had this experience where over the last 11 years I've been running the show, every time I thought this is going to be this one big
This could be
turning point, it has never,
It's never it.
once happened. Like when I got Shaq on, I thought I'm going to have so many new fans from this. It was like bink. It was like this tiny
Yeah.
little like blip, and then it's like you get, oh man, we hit the New York Times. All right, cool, we got a little boost. Or like Tony Robbins mentioned us on a bunch of stuff,
But
and
bro,
I was like, oh good.
It's cumulative.
It was cumulative. Yes,
It's a cumulative package. It's to where,
Yeah.
so now when people look at your website or they hear your podcast or they find out about you somehow, what they're doing is they're going and they're saying, fuck, dude, New York Times bestseller, #1 rated podcast, innovator of this, been in Forbes, been in this, been in that. And they're like, fuck, all right, I like this guy. I'm going to see what he's
Yeah.
about. And that's how it happens. It's a cumulative product. And it's hard to explain that to young guys because, like, dude, I don't think I would have understood it when I was 20 years old.
because you don't have enough to be cumulative.
No.
You look at your whole life is childhood.
Bro, you know how many times
and
I've,
then
in my
college.
business career, I like not just the podcast thing, but in my business career where I'm like, fuck, dude, we just get this one thing and land this one account, do this one thing. Dude, we're going to be $1 billion next year. Like, I've thought that for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm guilty of the same thought process. But I think it's okay to think like that because it keeps you wanting
keeps you motivated.
It keeps
Yeah,
you
I
wanting to
agree.
do big things. But what you have to understand, like, dude, it keeps you swinging for the fences, right? Swing for the fence, strike out. Swing for the fence, strike out. Swing for the fence, hit a home run. All right? Because I've hit a lot of fucking home runs, but I struck out way more. But I think the problem with thinking that way, and I actually believe it's a good way to think, but the problem with thinking that way is that when these kids go out and strike out the first 3 or 4 times, what do? They
quit. Yeah, they're
Right.
out.
And so it's a double-edged sword, man. There's good things about it and there's bad things about it.
So what I tell people when they ask me about this, because they're like, "Oh, I'm going to get this big press." I agree with you. I'm the same philosophy. Get excited about it. Yeah, you're going to be in the New York Times. Get excited. You're going on
It's huge.
MFCEO Project. Get
Yeah.
excited, but then don't have an attachment to the outcome. Get excited and fly all
That's
the
right.
way to St. Louis and do this show.
Yeah.
And when you get a bunch of new fans from it, be thankful, but don't go, "What the fuck? I flew out to St. Louis and I
Yeah.
only got 10,000 new fans. I was supposed to get 100,000. This guy's
Yeah.
bullshit. I don't want to talk to him anymore."
Yeah.
You know, don't do that because then you're just loading the gun and then shooting yourself in the foot, reloading the gun
Right.
and aiming at your other foot. But you do have to, I agree with you. You should stay excited because otherwise you just go, it's no point. I'm not even going to fly out there and do this because nothing ever happens.
Right. Like, dude, I had an article come out a month or 40 days ago or 45 days ago where Entrepreneur Inc. or Entrepreneur did an article about the top 5 entrepreneur podcasts, and they put us at #1. I
saw that,
Okay, which was fucking so cool. Because that's like, for me, that's like an iconic thing. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up reading that magazine, you know? So, like, and I show it to my dad. I'm like, Dad, check this shit out. You know, it's just cool. But then Yahoo picked it up, and then fucking Inc. picked it up, and they ran the same fucking a version of the same article. And dude, it was awesome. But like, it it didn't make the show. The show made the show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not any more popular than we were fucking a month ago, or maybe we have 100 new listeners or 1,000 new listeners. But I still enjoyed that. I still thought it was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you sort of soak it up, but then you don't go.
But I'm not hung on it.
You're not hung on it, yeah. And I think a lot of people, they have that, like you said, the strikeout, or the swing for the fences and the strikeout. So they'll get this big piece of media. And what is this called? It's called magical thinking. That's what it was. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And people do this in relationships. They do this in business.
Yeah.
It's easy to spot in business because you go, oh, we have a Super Bowl ad that's going to be huge. Nothing happens.
Right.
But when you do it in relationships too, you have problems. Like, oh, as soon as you've probably heard this in your inbox. As soon as I get a girlfriend, my life's going to be totally different. I just need your advice on this.
You're going to have less money. You're going to be more aggravated. You're going to be able to get less shit done. And you're going to be fatter because you got to eat all the time.
That's right.
That's what's going to fucking. That's how different it's going to be.
Yeah, congratulations on achieving your dream.
Yeah, dude.
But people do this in relationships with marriage. They do it with marriage too. They'll be like, me and my wife are fighting all the time, but as soon as I get this job in this different town and we move, everything will be fine. And then they move, and it's like, no, I'm still an asshole, and she still hates me for all this shit I did in the past.
Right.
You got to solve the real problem. Stop with the magical thinking.
And 90% of the time in those situations, 99% of the time, where's the fucking problem? It's in you.
It's you. Yeah.
I did want to say, just as you were talking, I was thinking about everything that Andy has always said about success in sales. And obviously there's so much interaction or interchange between success in sales or business and success in real life. And I was thinking, he has said on the podcast a number of times, you be successful at sales, you can't look at it as individual transactions. You got to look at it as lifelong relationship.
I like that. Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking as you guys were talking, is that's why you have to commit to the long term, because you don't form a really meaningful, rich, rewarding relationship in a single moment. It takes time.
And it's about building trust. And I can't remember which one of you mentioned trust earlier, because you both look so much alike. I can't remember which one of you said it. But a lot of people...
Best compliment you ever got, bro.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
But like the building of trust, you'd said, what other persuasive things can you do? There's always one.
Dude, it's his first fucking rodeo.
One.
I think that actually may be the first time that's ever happened in our podcast.
235 fucking episodes in, and this motherfucker still got a cell phone on.
And to clarify, we're talking about Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that you build trust also is by doing the little things, and most people will not do those little things. So they'll do this. They'll go, all right, well, I got to figure out. They'll go, all right, well, I got to figure out how to get this set up, or I got to figure out how to persuade. I got to figure out the magical languaging, or I got to figure out how to do this awesome presentation. And then they show up 20 minutes late.
Right.
And you're like, wait, your whole thing was to blow me away, and you've wasted a bunch of my time already.
Right.
Or they'll cancel something. And my wife she goes bonkers when I'm like, oh, I'm tired, or like, oh, we're not going to make it. She's like, you know how shitty it looks to cancel something?
100%, yeah.
Like, you better have a reason, like, oh, my leg's caught in a meat grinder, so I can't make it.
Right.
Not like, oh, I overslept. Like, that's not something where it just happens. You have done, there's a whole lot of non-discipline, a whole lot of disorganization, a whole lot of something not working out right for you to have a failure at that time. And that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at business. I'm not, somebody's like, oh, this meeting ran long. All right, that might happen sometimes, but if it's like, oh, we got stuck in traffic, hey, you just didn't plan. You did not plan for this. How are you? It's like that sign you guys have on the door where it's like salesman, am I allowed to say salesman by appointment only? And it's like, if you show up and you don't have an appointment, we will not do business with you on principle because it shows that you can't follow directions. Did I get that right?
Yep, you got it.
And so that's so important, because every action that you do now, people don't think, oh, well, this is unrelated to me closing this deal, or this is unrelated to me in a relationship scenario. No, it's not. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so if you're showing up without an appointment, or if you're showing up later, if you're canceling stuff, you're rescheduling stuff, you're moving stuff around all the time, I'm looking at this from a business perspective. I'm looking at this as, where did you fail in the line of planning, of the logistics? Where did those go wrong?
And what's this going to cost me in the future?
What's it going to cost me in the future? Yeah.
Right.
Well, I have an employee and they failed. Okay, so you don't hire properly. So this thing is happening consistently. I'm not like, oh, well, yeah, employees, they're a bunch of screw-ups. No, your employees are screw-ups because you don't know how to manage or hire.
So it seems like you're combining two concepts. You've got the attention to detail, obviously the small little things, but there's also something that Andy talks about all the time, and we've had a podcast on this specific subject. He always talks about how the inefficient is essential. And sometimes to do the things that really bond you to somebody or help you to persuade them, you have to do those little things that are not easy. They take time and they take a lot of effort. And that's what I think he's always meaning. That's what you mean, Andy, when you talk about the inefficient is essential. Like if you want to persuade people, if you really want to impact and influence them, it's not just that you have to do the small little details. You have to do the small little details that usually take a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, it shows people that you actually care.
You know, from a podcasting example, people will often go, wow, you know, your show's edited really well. And I go, yeah, I have an engineer and a producer Jason and engineer Jason, because I don't have to remember multiple names. That's efficient. But they edit out coughs, sneezes, like the ringer on some phone that the guest has, or like I put the bottle up and I'm drinking it and it goes, you know, and they'll cut that out. And people always go, wow, you know, how do you get all that stuff out there? Or why bother? Another podcaster will go, why do you bother doing that? The reason is because, well, there's other things like auditory fatigue and it keeps people paying attention. But the reason is because, well, look, if I want to convince somebody to send their whole team of bodyguards to my school for $5K a head or whatever, how am I going to do that? And then I sneezed and I was like, fuck it. I'm leaving it in. Right? Like, how disciplined are you? How much do you care about the final product when you're like, I could cut that out, but I just don't feel like dealing with it?
Right. Yeah, dude. I think those things tell everything.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Those little details. You know, when you buy something and you're like, wow, all the edges, even on the inside, the part that you don't see, they're all sanded down.
Dude, I've been having this fucking issue with a guy that I'm friends with who's helping us, and he's the same way. So I'm not picking on him. We have been having this issue with a hat company who's sending us the same hats, but they're fucking different. Like they fit different. But they're the same, according to the company.
That's annoying, yeah.
Right. And like, dude, so we've been, him and I have been going back and forth with them, and it's like, dude, like, most people might not notice that shit, but you better believe, like, I fucking notice it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it drives me insane. One's loose and the other one's a little too tight.
Or the rise on the crown is like 1/8 of an inch different. You could see it.
Yeah.
Most people can't see that shit. I see it everywhere. Like, I notice it everywhere I go. Like, I see symmetrical perfection. Like, I see the details, and like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's a skill that most people haven't developed, but it's a great skill to have.
It's a great skill to have. And think about this. They say it doesn't matter. Tell them to get a tattoo that has 1/8 of an inch different in a part that, like, imagine you have that skull on your right arm, and it's like, oh, one of the eyes is 1/8 of an inch bigger, but it's basically fine. You're like, no, this shit is on my body. Like, and people go, well, that's a tattoo. You're going to have that forever. Yeah, but you got to treat all of your products in the same way. You got to treat and this goes for information products too. You don't release stuff that has a bunch of typos in it. Oh, well, it's beta. Okay, well, fix it.
Yeah.
Make it look good. It goes back to, I said this when you were out of the room, how you do anything is how you do everything. I didn't make that up. I think that's one of those like T. Harv Eker quotes or Dale Carnegie from like 1938. It's funny because
I say that shit too, and people will like, I'll see them make a meme and they put my name on it, and I'm like, all right, I guess I said,
I guess it's mine now. Yeah.
But it's funny because I think that is one of the things that, I don't know who originally said it, but yeah, we all live by that.
Yeah, you have to, because otherwise you end up with the company that makes hats that aren't quite fitted right.
Yeah.
Or there's some protein in here, but we put in way too much sugar, or we didn't put in this other ingredient, but it's fine.
Or it tastes a little bit different. You got the guy who buys chocolate mint 47,000 times in a row, and then he gets the one that is like off. The motherfucker's going to notice.
He's noticing it.
Yeah, but like, dude, that's in our space. Luckily, that's how most people do business. So
yeah,
it's easy for us to beat them.
They just go, all right, I'm done with this shit.
Right.
If 1 out of every 7 of these buckets tastes like shit, I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about these little things that, if you want to influence people, if you want to persuade them, these little things that you have to do. And by the way, what I love about the last like 20, 30 minutes is that I've literally observed you doing little things like referring to things about us, making references to things that you know that we've talked about before, which is incredibly, incredibly.
Well,
it's
it shows he
to
did
us.
the research that somebody else didn't do.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going to go there, but I chose to humble myself and bring this issue up anyway. But it's you're actually showing that you're observing people. You're making references to them. You're making it about them. So I assume that that's one of the little things.
Probably, but I've been doing it for so long that I don't notice it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh.
Dude, it's just who you become. Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way, dude. Like, I know, like, when you, especially in a sales situation, like, it's all about them. It's not about you. And so many people, like, are terrible at sales because they make it about them.
Yeah.
It's not about them. Like, dude, if you're selling cars, it's not about the $1,000 commission you're going to get off selling the minivan. It's about how safe they're going to feel. It's about how comfortable they're going to be. It's about how cool they're going to feel because they got a cool minivan instead of a boring one, you know, and you got to make it about them in every single way. And those guys who care about what they are getting are the ones that end up getting paid.
Cars are a good example for the long game concept that you guys brought up earlier as well, because
how many cars you going to buy?
If you, ideally a bunch, right? If you're good at what you're doing, you're going to have a bunch of cars, and you're going to have to get a bigger one when you get a family, and then you're going to want a fun one for when you actually made enough money to get the car that you wanted instead of the cheap one. So if you get those sales guys that are like, oh, he's 24, I'm not going to spend any time talking to this guy. I'm going to go to the older guy. You might make the sale from that older guy, or you might not. But if you treat that 24-year-old with respect, and then he grows into a 30-year-old who then has a different kind of job, and then he's a 35-year-old with a family, then he's a 40-year-old going through a midlife crisis, and he wants a Mustang.
What about all his fucking friends?
Yeah.
What about all his friends?
That's a good point.
What about the conversations he's going to have about the experience you could have provided about selling that 24-year-old, a 10-year-old used car? What if you make him feel like he's the most important person in the world? What if you fucking congratulate him and get him excited about his car to the point where he goes out and tells his other 24-year-old friends, dude, you got to go see my buddy Andy at here because dude, he hooked me up. He took care of me. He's a good dude. He didn't treat me like I couldn't afford shit, okay? And you address all these issues. You're not just selling him. You're selling him and everybody fucking knows. And if you could think about that when you're talking to people, it makes it a lot easier to do the right thing.
That's a good point.
Right,
that network
we're farming,
effect.
dude.
Yeah.
Sales is fucking farming. You're planting fucking seeds that are going to harvest 10 years from now. So 10 years from now, when that 24-year-old is a 34-year-old and he's literally told 100 different people about you, how many cars are you going to be selling a fucking day off of that one great interaction that you took the time to make him feel more special than everybody else?
Yeah,
right?
That network effect is huge, man.
Dude.
That's why creating, even in the content world, right? Like stuff we're doing right now with this show, when you create something that's really good, people will then, and this is not rocket science, they'll refer it out. But if you just create a bunch of stuff, or if you create like one big splash, like you have one big guest and you expect that's only going to ripple so far. You have to every show has to be good enough.
Well, you mentioned it too. Audio fatigue.
Yeah.
Fucking dude, there's content fatigue. You put out so much shit that people ignore what you put out. And we see kids doing that all the time. They're putting out when you go to their fucking Instagram story, the line at the top looks like a fucking centipede, right? And you're like, fuck it, I'm not watching that shit. Or he's making 9 posts a day and putting out 2 podcasts a day and a YouTube. Dude, eventually people are like, dude, you're fucking annoying. You have to be aware of that too. You know what I mean? Like, overdoing things is just as bad as not doing anything. It's actually worse.
I think this was I wish I remembered which president this was, but he wrote a letter and he's like, sorry for the length of this letter. I didn't have time to write a shorter one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
It was like, I don't know. I'm just going to get it wrong if I say Abraham Lincoln or something.
No, it was somebody like that.
Yeah. And what he's basically saying
it'll
is
come to me.
It's harder to create something that is tight and doesn't have a value delusion than to create something that's just long and rant. Like if we did a show that lasted the whole day, it's probably going to be tough to make it more valuable than what we're going to fit into an hour.
That, right? I mean, you know why people do that, because one of the fucking ways that iTunes ranks you is because of how long people listen to your fucking podcast. So that you have these motherfuckers out there doing 4-hour podcasts.
Oh my God.
Just so they can get a fucking higher ranking. right?
I did not know that.
Oh
actually.
yeah, dude. That's why you listen. That's why some of the biggest podcasts are fucking 2 and 3 hours long every time.
I know that they rank based on. Yeah, I guess I get technically. I guess I did know that because the play count, the episode listing. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. I never thought, I should do a longer show because
me neither.
It's like people already go, man, your show's an hour long, hour and 15. I only got a 45-minute commute. If it's really good, they'll pick it up later. But half of the time, they're just going, I'm at work, I'm done.
That was Mark Twain.
It was Mark Twain.
I was going to
But
say
wait a
Mark
minute.
Twain.
But is
the
it
fuck
though?
outta here.
I swear it was
Every
going to be Mark
unattributed
Twain.
quote though is now
Is
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, right?
So it's like YOLO. Oh, that was Abraham Lincoln who made that up.
Actually, that was Mark Twain too.
Yeah, that was Mark Twain too. Yeah, right. Like, yeah, that I don't know. Now I don't believe
Listen to
anything
this
that he
fucking
said.
guy. I was going to say it.
I was.
You are that guy.
Hey, I was going to say, but he's got my favorite quote about, the right word is the difference between a lightning bug and lightning,
I never heard that one.
Oh, that's a great one.
Must
I
be
never
Mark
heard that
Twain.
one either. What is the quote?
It's the exact quote is something like having the perfect word versus having a good word is the difference between a lightning bug and lightning or something.
Why do you like that?
Well, because he said it better. I'm actually misquoting it, but it's really good. Just
I was
because
gonna say, it
it's
sounds
really
kinda-
witty.
it
Mark
sounds-
Twain's kind of witty. So
is that why you like misquote him and shit? His quote was so
think it
powerful that
must
you
be.
fucking can't even remember it.
no,
Tyler,
I think
what's the
I think I
quote?
need more coffee.
Actually, it was Winston Churchill.
Oh, is it Winston
That's who-
Churchill said that?
Yeah, but it goes back like he stole it from somebody else. It goes back like
Yeah,
way
I think
back.
everything comes back to Mark
Right.
Twain. But so what's the exact
quote?
quote?
Is if I had more time, I would have written you a shorter letter.
No. The lightning bug.
The
quote.
lightning bug. Did you get that one?
No, I didn't hear
quote?
that.
Oh, you're not paying attention.
No, I'm fucking
So-
looking up quotes.
Anyway, but Jordan, I know you have to hop on an airplane with your wife here pretty soon. But before we forget to do this, why don't you share your social contacts?
Sure. At Jordan Harbinger on Instagram and Twitter, if people still use that aside from the president, and or just to read the presidential tweets.
Yeah.
And I teach a lot of networking and relationship development stuff. Actually, if you guys have a minute, I would love to go over like 2 of those little drills because I think they're super freaking helpful.
Sure. Yeah.
All right,
You know
so-
what? Can you spell your name? Because people do that all the time. They say, well, I looked him up and I couldn't find him.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan, like Jordan, and then Harbinger, Harbinger, Harbinger. Like Harbinger of Doom
That's
/ sorrow / destruction.
Or something good.
Or something good, but
Yeah.
nobody ever uses that for anything. No one's like
Harbinger of
Harbinger
joy.
of rainbows. No. The reason I want to give these drills is because I think young guys, especially young guys and girls, but guys especially, we deprioritize our relationships in our businesses, especially because we don't think that we have time. And so I think digging the well before you're thirsty. You never think you're going to be thirsty in the moment. So you got to start those relationships off early. And one of the things that I do to maintain connections in the network is every day around 9 a.m., I scroll all the way down to the bottom of my text messages and I start texting the people that are at the bottom there. And I'll be like, hey, man, been a long time. Haven't spoken with you in a minute. And then you sign, like, give me an update on what you're up to next. I'd love to hear from you. Sign your name so that they don't reply like new phone, who dis, or just ignore you because they're embarrassed. And then you say no rush on the reply. I know everyone's busy because when you're trying to sell something, as you guys all know, you build urgency. So then when I get a message from somebody from 2 years or whatever in my past, I'm like, is it Herbalife or Scientology? Like, what's it going to be? So if I say no rush on the reply, I destroy that urgency and it actually increases my response rate. And I do that with 4 or 5 people a day. Not every single person responds. And you end up with a few minutes of conversation while you're waiting for coffee or whatever, or between phone calls.
Dude, I do a similar thing to that too, where I just do what I do is I send people the emoji, the 3 fist emoji. Like this is something I always do. And then I said, just thinking about you, bro, or
Nice.
just thinking about you. And then, so it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey dude, I'm just thinking about you. It's not like I need anything or whatever.
Right.
I'm just trying to let them know like, hey dude, I haven't forgotten about you.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And that works really well to help keep good things good, because what happens is, and this is the fucking worst, like, and this used to happen to me all the time, is like somebody would text me and it would get buried in my text and I didn't reply. All right. But then a situation comes up where I need to get a hold of that person. So then I fucking go to like text them and I look and I'm like, fuck.
Oh, I didn't reply to this.
I did reply. Now I got to ask this guy
Yeah.
for something. And then you're the shitbag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like now I do the same thing that you're talking about. But I just do it in a way of like, hey man, I'm just, And I do it in a genuine way. Like,
of course,
like
yeah.
when somebody pops in my head, I just fucking shoot him a text, be like, hey, bro, thinking about you.
I'll give you a sub drill for this. Then this is called opportunistic network maintenance, and so this is something that will allow you to engage with people all the time without having to be reminded by something, or by being reminded by something that you don't have to set up yourself. So when you log into Instagram or Facebook, you see the news feed, and if someone has a baby or gets married, you click like or you write a comment. All that stuff is what I would say is below the fold, right? Like I'm not reading those comments, or if I do, I'm not like, oh, that's cool that Vaughn commented on that. I just see 1,000 comments and I'm like, oh, all right, done. The likes, I'm not reading that list of likes. But if somebody is in your network, which is in your news feed, and they have big news in their life, they got a business thing, they've got an event going on, they had a kid, they get married, send them a text.
Yeah.
If you don't have their number, send them an email. If you do, maybe you could even give them a call on the phone. All that stuff is above the fold. It's higher on the...
It means shit.
It means something. Yeah. If you have their number or you reach out more... When I got married, I got thousands of likes, thousands of comments on the picture, the relationship changed, but I probably got like 20, 30 phone calls and maybe like 40 texts, but I remember those people because even if they weren't at the wedding.
No, even if it's exactly, that's exactly what I was going to say. Even if they aren't somebody who's like real close to you,
right?
It puts them closer to you because you're like, all right, this dude really cares, or this girl really cares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all it did, you didn't have to do anything other. You were going to click like, you were going to write a comment. Just pick up your phone and write a comment in the freaking text field to that person, or an email if you don't have their number. It's better. It's higher on the engagement totem pole. It brings your relationship. It furthers the intimacy a little bit.
For sure.
And that kind of thing. I have so the reason I brought that up when you asked me for my contacts was because I have a bunch of stuff on my new website, which is advancedhumandynamics.com, where I have networking drills, body language drills, persuasion and influence stuff. If you click level 1, it's free. It's not a thing that you have to buy.
You know what I love about you, dude, is that I know that you struggled with this early on. And that's why you've become a student of it.
Oh, yeah. I was
I'm
not
the same
good at
way.
this.
Like, I started out fucking terrible at all the shit you're talking about. Like, the worst. Like, I knew you got it whenever he said, and when I said, I'm standing in front of my manager meeting, and he said, standing there with the paper shaking in your hand.
Yeah.
That's when I knew you fucking got it. And the reason you are where you are, dude, isn't because you have a gift. It's because you fucking made it your gift. And I respect that, dude. I think it's awesome because, like, I wouldn't be anywhere in my life without going through all that same shit. You know what I mean? And like, I haven't made it my whole career, obviously, but it's something that fascinates me.
But you're a case study in that it works.
Yeah,
you know?
but I'm saying, like, what you do, like the human dynamics and the interpersonal relationship dynamics and all that shit fascinates me, man. Like, it's because I was so bad at it. Are you the same way?
Yeah, I was shy, quiet, nerdy, still nerdy. No shame.
Yeah.
But I was just like...
Nerds run the world, bro.
Yeah, we do run the world. Yeah, don't forget that.
Yeah.
Be nice to nerds because you're going to work for one if
That's
you don't
right.
already. So, yeah, I was always quiet and introverted and shy. And eventually I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I looked at all the habits that people who are not introverted, quiet, or shy were doing. And I thought, like, all right, these guys probably weren't born that way. And if you look back, if you zoom out far enough on the timeline of somebody who you think is well-networked or persuasive or wealthy or interesting or funny, if you zoom out far enough on the timeline, you find somebody in their environment or some influence in their environment that might make it look natural. And I'll give you this example right now. So if you find a kid that you think, well, no, my friend Matt, even when we were in elementary school, he was outgoing and fun. Okay, but he had an older brother, and his older brother was on a team that was co-ed, so he had girls over the house all the time. So you weren't afraid of girls when you were 6 years old, like me and every other guy were, because you're around older kids. So then they hung out with you and blah, blah, blah. And then when at the time you got to middle school and high school, you were used to having women around. So it looked like you were naturally outgoing and comfortable around women, but you were not.
Yes.
You learned it earlier.
Yes.
That's it.
Dude, I love that, man, because people look at people who are charismatic or who are successful or who are personalities, and like, dude, they look at it and they're like, God, you have a gift. Like, dude, I get this shit all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, you have this gift with your voice and this and your ability to speak. And dude, go listen to my first podcast. It was fucking terrible.
Don't listen to my first podcast, please.
No, I
hope it's gone.
I leave it up for the specific reason of letting people understand that this is all a skill that you learn. You know what I mean? It's not a gift.
The tape doesn't lie, right?
Right.
You look at, like, if you had a picture or a video of that meeting you were holding with the paper shaking, and people would go, "That's not you. That's a guy that kind of looks like you, but is not you."
Right.
Like, and in a way, they're right.
Right.
You're not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny is as much as you've said that, I still believe people don't believe it. And I'm telling you guys, literally go back and listen to episode like 3 or 4.
No, listen to 1.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Andy. This is
a fucking podcast.
This is the MFCEO.
It's not for pussies.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But the content was still good.
No, the content was great.
Dude,
yeah.
I didn't know how to really do anything.
Present it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the same for every single skill, because people right now are going, yeah, but you've got that aggression thing that your dad taught you, and so of course you're good at business. I don't have that. Everything that people see about you or me or any of us here, this is by the time the plant, what is it? You gave this example perfectly. I think it was Chinese bamboo,
right? Yeah, the Chinese bamboo
By
tree.
the time you water it for years or
5
months
years.
or whatever, then it pops up and you go, oh man, this thing grows really fast. It looks like it grows really fast if you watered it and then a day later it popped up above the ground.
Yeah.
What you don't see is all of the fuck ups that everybody
I think
made.
everybody has the things. I think the reason that my content resonates with people is because they do have what the fuck I have.
Yeah.
They're just afraid to let people see it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, dude, if I go out, it's like doing anything new for the first time. You know, like let's say you were going to take a singing lesson and there was other people in the room and you're afraid because you're like, fuck, dude. There's other people here. Like, I'm good in the car.
Yeah.
I'm good. But,
In the
like,
shower.
dude, this ain't the same. And you're fucking terrified. And, like, dude, that's what it's like. You know what I mean? You just have to get past that I'm going to feel weird phase and just know that you're going to feel weird until you don't.
Expect to not be where you want to be pretty much ever in your life. Like, I don't want to speak for you, but I would say right now where I'm at, I'm like, people go, man, you're just built this huge thing, and I'm not. I'm like, well, my windshield's bigger than my rear view mirror.
Yeah,
you know, I'm looking at what's ahead. And
bro,
I'm
I
thinking,
say that all the time. I say I'm just getting started, and people think I'm saying that
to be humble or something.
No, I'm saying it in a literal way. You know, and I don't feel successful at all. I just don't. I feel like I've figured out a little bit. I'm like, all right, I figured out a little bit.
You got the foundation set up, and you're just getting ready to build the building.
Yeah, but like, dude, you know, I also believe that true entrepreneurs, like, I can always tell if somebody's a real entrepreneur by the way they speak about what their life's going to be like. Like, if they say, oh yeah, I'm building this business so I can sell it at 35 years old and retire. You don't have it, bro.
Yeah.
That ain't. You don't have it. Because to be successful, you've got to love the process and love the game of entrepreneurship, because the guys who are winning big, they all love it.
Yeah.
And those guys are going to stomp you. And a real entrepreneur couldn't sit on a fucking beach.
Could never sit on the beach. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say, people go, what's your exit strategy? And I'm like, death?
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. Like, and because, dude, I've had some really big offers to buy our company. Not 10-figure, but 9-figure offers. Yeah. And like, to where I would literally never have to fucking work or do anything. And we've turned them down because I make enough money to live the life I want to live.
Right.
I love the guys here and the girls here in our office. I love coming to work every day. I love building shit. I love creating shit. Like I think about it, like how it would negatively affect my life having that money, because it wouldn't change anything how I would live, and what it would do is take away all the shit that I love.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's how real entrepreneurs think about shit. You know what I mean?
I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that
like,
is
why would I
thinking
take a
about
lot
quitting.
of money and give away all the shit that I love about my life?
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense.
You'd end up trying to buy your way back into the feeling you get from running this,
and you couldn't.
And you couldn't
recreate it.
You'd either be into some bad shit, or you'd have a bunch of stuff that you don't like as much that takes up all your time and energy.
Bro, I would be so self-destructive.
Oh, man.
I'd be dead in fucking 2 years.
Yeah,
I would go fucking crazy.
I know it sounds funny, but I think people who don't believe you, it's true.
Yeah.
You see wealthy or successful entertainers, and they get on a down slump. You don't turn to cocaine because you go to a party and you try it and you like it. You turn to it because you get the feeling from that stuff that you were getting before this other shit.
See,
got
I never
in the way.
fucked with any drugs, dude.
You shouldn't.
Like, I used to smoke a lot of weed, but dude, but like I never did drugs. You know why? Because people don't get hooked on drugs because the shit makes you feel bad.
Right. Yeah, you know you'll like it.
Like, dude, I would fucking smoke some crack and I would be they'd be making a documentary about me. It'd be like, look at this guy who used to be this, and now here he is on the fucking sidewalk with a crack pipe.
Yeah, the rise and fall of Andy Frisella by Andy Frisella.
It would take one fucking hit of crack. It would be over.
Did you, do you have any other points on your drill?
Oh, there's so many drills. AdvancedHumanDynamics.com, and then click level 1 or go to /level 1.
That's cool. I'm gonna go check that out.
Do it. Look, it's free. The reason it's free is because it's the highest leverage stuff that you can do.
Yeah.
Is maintain, and you're gonna see how I look on video, which is not gonna be as polished as it is on the radio. But the highest leverage stuff you can do, especially when you're young. Not even when you're young. In any business is always relationships. I don't have to explain this to you. You know this stuff, but I want to hammer it home for everybody listening too. And that's why I'm like, I want to give this stuff away.
In my opinion, that's the people who are going to. You want to know the difference between, and I said this a million times on this podcast, the difference between people who are, $40,000 to $80,000 a year people, and the difference between people who are $250,000 to $1 million. Has the only thing it has to do with is their ability to sell and their ability to manage people. And guess what skills you need for that?
Yeah. Soft skills,
right?
Networking, relationship development, and sales.
So, dude, thank you so much for making the trip out here.
Thanks for having me, man. This has been really
awesome.
Good. I got to tell you, when I heard your show before, I was like, wow, this guy is like a little high energy and abrasive. And then I started talking to people, and I'm like, what's up with this Andy Frisella guy? And they're like, oh, he's a good dude. And then I was texting with you, and then my wife was texting with you, and I was like, isn't he just so nice? I did not expect this. I did not. I really didn't. But it's a testament to your skill in relationship development that you can be an authentic version of yourself where you're like, you're telling people what they need to hear. But then when you're talking with someone who's a friend, you don't have like an aggressive persona.
Yeah, I appreciate it,
an abrasive persona.
Yeah, no, dude, look, man, the reason it's branding, right? Like it's my product. My product is different than everybody else's because it's an authentic, aggressive stance on the shit that people need to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about it, and that's where that comes from. But like, dude, I don't run around my house yelling at my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not
dude,
every day anyway.
I'm a pretty chill dude. Like, I'm a fun guy to hang out with, and if we're gonna drink beers, we're gonna have a good fucking time. But like, when I get to talking about like the shit people need to know, dude, like I get angry at the lies they're told. And really, what you're seeing when I post like clips or bites that are, of course, over the top. Really, what you're seeing is my anger for people lying to other people coming out. You know what I mean? And it's just because, dude, I was lied to and I was told the wrong way. And I spent decades of my life trying to figure it out. And so it's frustrating to me. And I'm not frustrated at people. I'm frustrated at the people who taught those people.
Right. The noise.
Yes, man. So I don't know, man. Like, and I like, this is just another example. We don't monetize our podcast because I fucking love doing it. I just love it. And eventually we're going to have products that are going to monetize. Like we sell some children's book. Everything that we do is designed around.
That was unexpected too. But my wife's like, he's got these children's books. And I was like, wait, who does? Yeah. We were talking about Andy Frisella. Who's got children's books?
And fortunately, people have really supported those and really done a great job helping other people learn about it. But I mean, dude, this is about impact, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm a fucking rich dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't have to do this.
I live a crazy fucking life. Like it's like rock star shit. But what I love to do is fucking help people. I just fucking love it. Like I love the business we're in. Because we're able to send somebody away for 6 months and have them come back a completely different person. Emotionally, physically, confidence-wise. I love what we do here because I feel like I'm able to relay some of the lessons that I was taught through life and also by my dad. I was very fortunate to have a dad who, by all accounts, was not like the most loving dad. Like if you looked at him from the outside, you guys would be like, this dude's fucking crazy. But the reality is he loved us way more than what most dads love their kids because he had the understanding of what real love is, which is telling you the fucking truth and preparing you for reality. And I was very fortunate, and I don't use the word luck very much, but I was lucky to have that. And I try to share that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody has it.
Good on you, man, because I think a lot of people would take the opportunity to create a platform like this and just go, cool, I'm going to sell them some more
bunch of shit. Yeah. And dude, we are going to sell some shit, but
it'll
I mean,
be good.
it's all going to be shit.
It's healthy shit.
Yes, it's all going to be stuff that will return on someone's life in a financial way, 1,000-fold. You know what I mean? So, and I can feel good about that.
Yeah, good.
So,
and that's
We've
what
got
counts.
uncensored children's books coming out.
Uncensored children's books, yeah.
Dude,
like,
what's that one that the go to fuck to
Go
sleep?
the fuck to sleep,
Dude,
yeah.
that video of who's reading that?
Samuel L. Jackson,
Oh my
I think,
god,
right?
dude, that's one of the funniest
Yeah.
videos ever.
Yeah, he's like, go the fuck to sleep. And he's like, so it's so calm.
Yeah,
So chill.
He's
That's
such a
great.
good dude. He's such a good voice guy.
Yeah.
Him. What's his face? Lawrence Fishburne's
Oh,
voice.
yeah, of course.
Morgan Freeman's voice. Those guys are so fucking good at what they
Yeah.
do. Like I'm big fans of their voice work.
It's so hard to
Christopher
do voice
Walken.
work, too. Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, it's just I don't know. The more I get into podcasting, the more I pay attention to people's voice
Yes.
work, and
Yes.
I'm really becoming a fan of people that can like have their fucking style.
It's tough, man.
It's really no different than fucking rapping.
Yeah.
Remember, Tyler and I just started working on some rap shit with our buddy Mark, and fuck, that shit's hard, dude. It's a totally different art.
He sucks so bad in the beginning.
Oh,
sucked so bad
but
at the
dude,
beginning, yeah.
hey, I got fucking way better quick.
You got way better in those only over the course of a couple days. And Mark's like, man, I never heard somebody pick it up this quick.
Yeah,
Like,
but it is a different thing, man. Because it's like, you know how like in podcasting you develop your style, or in
Sure.
radio you develop your style, and then that was just a whole different thing. But
Is the boys in the hood always hot?
Yeah.
I'm
Bro,
I
I'm
can
gonna
drop
tell you
it
right
on you,
now.
man.
I don't care.
can drop it on you.
The Vanilla Ice style.
I can drop it on you.
I will fucking next time Mark comes in town, we're bringing this motherfucker over because I would love to fucking see him weasel his way through a fucking rap verse.
Easily I approach
Yeah.
the microphone because I ain't no joke.
Dude,
Tell
get
your
the
mama.
fuck out of here.
I'm cringing.
Could you be any more fucking
White.
white?
Actually, literally, no. Literally, I don't know that I could have any less pigment in my skin unless I was an actual albino. But,
That's the fucking truth.
you know,
You got the you got the
I got to
you got
embrace
the
my
hood
brand.
blood in you.
Yeah, oh, I do,
You
yeah.
got the hood blood. All right. Well, dude, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Anything, guys, if you're not following him, make sure you do, and make sure you check out his website because he's teaching you and has dedicated a big part of his life to teaching you guys a great foundation for the skills that you're going to need to earn more money. And we kind of went all over on this podcast, but Jordan is one of the best in the world at what he does, and make sure that you're giving his content proper attention because it's going to benefit you a lot.
And your podcast is actually just called The Jordan Harbinger Show.
That's right. The Jordan Harbinger Show.
Yeah.
You find it anywhere fine podcasts are sold. They're all free. I don't know. I don't know.
We're-
Like, people
we're-
confuse that
we're,
sometimes.
We're in the fine podcast category.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. Yeah, we're MFCEO adjacent.
That's right. We're winging each other across the aisle.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Make sure you pay the fee, and we'll see you next time.